Here in Minneapolis, it is a picture-perfect day as the Chiefs visit the Vikings. Alex Smith leads a Kansas City team desperate for a win against the cool young gun Teddy Bridgewater of the Vikes. And today's game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. Back in Minneapolis on an unreal football afternoon, temperature 54, forecast to get up to about 62. On the sidelines enjoying the weather, Stacey Dale. Stacey.
Well, Greg, this just in today, a huge blow for this Vikings defensive line. Starting defensive end Everson Griffen has been ruled out. I talked to the head coach, Mike Zimmer, just a short time ago. Griffen came in today to the facility very sick with an illness. Apparently he was at meetings, he was at chapel last night, unable to go today. What does it mean? It means they lose their emotional leader defensively, and it means for the first time ever, Donnell Hunter, third-rounder rookie out of LSU, gets his first start in the National Football League. Greg, he's just 20 years old against these Chiefs today.
All right, Stacey, thank you very much. The Kansas City Chiefs have won the coin toss. They will defer and kick it away. That is Cairo Santos, and he will kick it to Cordero Patterson, who has 2 career kickoff returns, and we're underway. Patterson from about halfway deep into the end zone. And tripped up before he reached the 15-yard line. So that is where the Vikings will go to work. And the Viking quarterback is Teddy Bridgewater. In his second season out of Louisville, he has thrown for 2 touchdowns. He's run for 1. He's been sacked 13 times in 4 games, Trent, and he shows all kinds of promise, doesn't he?
He shows a lot of promise, and you talk about those sacks, and really this offensive line is going to be tested again today as they were their last game against Denver.
Adrian Peterson across the 15 and out to about the 18-yard line. A couple of number 61s at center here today for the Vikings. It's veteran Joe Berger in his 11th year out of Michigan Tech. And in the backfield, we get to watch one of the best running backs around in number 28, Adrian Peterson, who could very well set the tone here today, Trent, not only just for the offense, but for the whole team. Yeah,
he has an attitude that he runs with. He's not only a guy that can run you over, but he can run the distance as well.
This is Peterson trying the left side and ganged up on at about the 20-yard line. For Kansas City, the 3 guys up front in the 3-4 defense total 6 sacks. Alan Bailey has 3 of them. The linebackers, Justin Houston also with 3 sacks. He led the NFL in that department last season with 22. And Eric Berry getting the start at safety today in place of Hussein Abdullah. Third and 4 for Bridgewater, who will drop back into shotgun for the first time. Bridgewater throwing, and it is complete on the near sideline across the 35 and out of bounds at the 36-yard line is Stephon Diggs, the rookie out of Maryland. Trent mentioned he had a sensational debut against Denver with 6 catches for 87 yards.
And as we take a look at this replay, you're going to see Marcus Peters playing in off position. That's not something he would rather be pressed than get the hands on the receiver.
On the hurry up here is Peterson off the left side and out to about the 38-yard line.
Talking back about Marcus Peters, talking to us last night, he said he likes that physical play, likes being near the line of scrimmage, and most of the time in Bob Sutton's defense, that's what they're asking him to do, is be physical with the receivers. So it'll be interesting to watch throughout the course of the game if he continues to play that far off of Diggs.
Marcus Peters, the son of a coach, which means he's been brought up right.
Back 20!
Second and 8. Play fake, the pass to the sideline, and off the hands of the intended receiver, Mike Wallace. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Once again, that's Wallace matched up on Peters one-on-one. Peters playing about 8 to 10 yards off with that cushion, just a basic 10-yard out route. That's a route that Teddy Bridgewater has to hit and should normally hit, as you see it go off the hands of Mike Wallace.
Marcus Peters, the first-round draft choice out of Washington, the 18th player selected overall. 25, 20, knocked down at about the 12 or the 13-yard line. Jerry is right.
Well, that's a chance you take, Greg, when you decide to go man-to-man. You put everybody pressed at the line of scrimmage. As a quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, you're trying to find that matchup you want the best. He has Wright matched one-on-one in the left slot against Hussein Abdullah, who's a safety. He does play some nickel and dime and do coverage from the slot. But it's a matchup that Teddy Bridgewater knew where he was going. Right when he was dropping back, it was just a matter of Wright beating him off the line of scrimmage.
52-yard gain, first and goal at the 9 for Minnesota. Peterson in the backfield. Peterson with the football. Lost a yard. The Kansas City defense converging, led by Alan Bailey. Kansas City's red zone defense has been nothing to write home about this year so far.
Well, and that was an area they were very strong in a year ago. Last year only giving up 17.5 points a game, and this year giving up 28.5 points a game, so they struggled in this area.
Bridgewater pulled it down and had thoughts of going right up the middle, but Alan Bailey was right there.
Bailey playing much better this year. Getting an opportunity. You see he just pushes back. Pushes Harris right back into the lap of Teddy Bridgewater. Appears that it was going to be a quarterback draw anyway. Or maybe Bridgewater just felt the pressure, but good push by Alan Bailey.
So now third and goal from 15 yards out. Bridgewater on the move, throwing. Intercepted in the end zone. The Chiefs pick it off, and that's number 38, Ron Parker, with his first pick of the season.
Well, that's a young quarterback just trying to do too much. He's getting pressure in the pocket. You know it's third and goal. You've got to get it into the end zone, or at least that's your mindset. Here he gets outside and just forces it up the field.
So we'll look at the young Teddy Bridgewater on the side. His third interception thrown this season. Only the 5th turnover of the season for the Vikings. Quick pass, far side, and Alex Smith overthrew his tight end, Travis Kelce. Go back to that pick, Trent.
We're going to see Bridgewater. He's going to get some pressure and get flushed out of the pocket. Rudolph just comes out after trying to make a chip block. Bridgewater's going to step up and slide to the outside. But as you see him move to the outside, you have to understand you're already in field goal range. There's no reason to force this up the field. He tries throwing across his body. Rudolph can't get a hand on it. Parker with the interception, setting up the Chiefs inside their own 10, inside their own 5, and that's going to be an interception that helps that Chiefs defense in that red zone production.
2nd and 10, pass out into the flat, and that is buried at the 1-yard line. Pass is completed to Jeremy Macklin, and Captain Munnerlin was there to make the play.
Well, Greg, you have to think that the loss of Jamal Charles maybe changes some of your play calling. Generally, when you're inside the 5, you're going to run the football to try and give you some separation. You obviously want to try and get first downs, but you want to get some separation away from that goal line, if anything, to give your punter some room, but ultimately to get the first down. Here on 1st and 2nd down, the Chiefs decide to try and throw quick throws to the outside, and Alex Smith not connecting on the first one, and the Vikings rallying for the tackle for loss on the second.
They have reduced the separation. Out of his end zone. Pump fake. Throwing deep. This side. Incomplete. Intended for Macklin.
Well, and that throw was due to the fact that the Vikings brought pressure, so Alex didn't have a chance to set up in the pocket and anticipate where the route was going to be. He wanted to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible.
We have a penalty marker down.
Could be a safety if it's a penalty in the end zone. They call a holding in the end zone.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Well, I don't know why they would decline it. I think that's if you. So they're going to get grubs on the
holding
call.
In the field of play, not in the end zone.
Well, we heard Jerome Boger's explanation there that the hold occurred in the field of play, not in the end zone, and I think there's tons of evidence to prove that that wasn't the case. So, and that's not a reviewable play. That's not something they can review. So
they caught a break.
They caught a break as Colquitt didn't have much room to work with here getting the punt off.
Picked up at the 50 by Marcus Sherrills. Fitzgerald's trying to turn the corner. Penalty markers fly as he runs out of bounds at about the 45-yard line.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 99. Out of the foul, 10-yard penalty. Minnesota keeps the ball, first down.
So Donnell Hunter is guilty of the block in the back. 9:40 to play in the first. Told you it was a beautiful day here in Minneapolis. A look at downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. 9:40 to play in the first quarter. The Vikings from their own 46. And they'll give it to Peterson. Let's go back to that play at the goal line. Trent, you firmly believe this should have been a safety.
Well, you see Grubbs is blocking Floyd here. And when the initial contact happens, drives him back into the end zone, and that's when the arm bar occurs. Grubbs gets the left arm. Watch 66 right here. Watch the left arm get out across the chest of Floyd, and that's what brings him down, and ultimately the flag comes in. So why that was called as a holding outside of the in the field of play needs better explanation.
We'll get Mike Carey here just as soon as we get this play off. It's 2nd and 10. Play fake. Bridgewater throwing. Wide open on the far side of the field. That's Stephon Diggs. And Stiggs dancing inside the 25 and out of bounds at about the 23. Let's go back to that play. Mike Carey, what'd you see?
Well, I saw that the hold did start in the field of play. Watch, the double hook starts immediately, and then it progresses into a grab right across the chest. So when it starts that early and finishes late, they're going to take it from the start of the hold. Just like a fumble, when the ball starts to come loose, it's loose. And then when it shows itself up, that's when it's confirmed.
Then, Mike, why doesn't the flag come out as soon as it starts?
Because it's not a foul till the complete restriction happens. But it starts early.
Fight him, Trent. Fight him.
I know where you're coming from, Mike, and I know the terminology you're trying to use on it, but the hold actually occurs in the end zone. So I know what the wording of the rule says, and I guess we're going to have to disagree on this one.
Well, I think they won on this one.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. 2nd and 10 for Bridgewater and the Vikings from the 23. Peterson. Peterson spun down, losing a couple of yards at the 25, and there's that man, Alan Bailey, again.
Alan Bailey getting penetration into the backfield and does a good job of wrapping Adrian Peterson up. Normally, with Adrian Peterson, you get him down around the legs. He can break through those tackles because of the power he has in his legs. So Bailey doing a good job of not only wrapping up, but spinning him to the ground.
Peterson 6 carries for just 7 yards so far. And a 3rd and 11 as Bridgewater now spreads the field. With time, throwing this side of the field, and that's complete and out of bounds, short of the 10-yard line, right at the 10-yard line, and that'll be a first down for the Vikings. Once again, Stephon Diggs, who has made an impact since his debut against the Denver Broncos.
You can see Diggs this time with Peters in press coverage. Peters doesn't get a hand on him, though, so by not being able to be physical with him at the line of scrimmage, Diggs sets him up on that out route with the protection, giving Bridgewater time. Diggs coming up with the catch right before the sideline.
1st and goal at the 10. Peterson changes direction, looking for blocks. Gonna lose a couple back to the 12 or the 17-yard line. Justin Houston and Jay Howard making the stop.
Well, it's safe to say what the focus of the Chiefs defense is going to be today, and that's rallying around Adrian Peterson wherever he goes. Getting hands on him in the backfield. That's DeVito that's able to get penetration into the backfield, get hands on him, and force him to change direction. Now as you get to 2nd and long, the Vikings are looking more to throw the football, but Teddy Bridgewater has to realize, going back to that last series, you can't force the ball up the field, take the underneath stuff, get into a more manageable down and distance on 3rd down if you can.
2nd and goal from the 17. Bridgewater throwing far side of the field, complete inside the 10 to about the 6-yard line to Mike Wallace.
And that time going after Sean Smith. Mike Wallace just running a hitch route. Smith slips again for the second time on this drive. The big gain that Diggs had earlier in this drive. Smith slipped getting out of his break. This now puts the Vikings in position here, third down. Wouldn't be surprised to see him throw it once again, even though Adrian Peterson's in the backfield.
This Kansas City defense really keying on Peterson early on. Bridgewater looking for time and throws it away.
Well, and that time he learned. He learned from the last series. The possession or the route wasn't there to be thrown. They ran trips to one side. He tried flushing that side of the field. The Chiefs only rushed 3. They had 7 guys near the line of scrimmage. Only rushed 3, dropped 8 into coverage, trying to force Teddy Bridgewater into that mistake. He learned from his lesson the first possession, and that time threw it away, setting up this field goal attempt.
Blair Walsh is the place kicker for the Vikings. 6 out of 8 on field goals this season. From 24 yards out, and the kick is good. 5:41 to play in the first, and the Vikings draw first blood, 3-0. On Tuesday, the Vikings teamed up with the American Cancer Society to host the 5th annual A Crucial Catch Luncheon in recognition of Minnesota breast cancer survivors, their families, and their caregivers. Join in the fight against breast cancer. Find out how you can help make a crucial catch. Share this message with friends and loved ones at NFL.com/pink. Teddy Bridgewater, whose mom is a survivor. 9 plays, 48 yards, and the Blair Walsh field goal.
Well, and you have
the
to
Vikings on top 3-0.
Well, and Greg, you have to think that that's a win for the Chiefs defense. 2 possessions down in the red zone and holding them to just a 1 field goal.
Niall Davis from the goal line. Oof, hit hard as he approached the 20-yard line and went down in a hurry. Zach Line, number 48, leading the charge for the Minnesota Vikings. .5:35 to play in the first quarter of a 3-0 game. The Vikings in the lead, and the Chiefs from their own 20-yard line. Smith, far side of the field, and that's complete for a first down across the 30 to the 32-yard line to Jeremy Maclin. Alex Smith, a quarterback for Kansas City.
Holding offense.
That's going to come back.
Number 61. 10-yard
Center
penalty.
Mitch Morse,
Replay,
guilty of a hold.
See Morris right in center there. He's going to get called for the hold.
Maclin, question about it either.
Yeah, not much question. When you have 3 guys in there and then you end up bringing them down, it's making Boger's job pretty easy.
So 1st and 20 for Smith. Going to the near side of the field and can't connect with Travis Kelce.
Well,
we have a flag gun.
Looks like we're going to get a late hit on Alex Smith.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 73. Blows to the head of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So Kansas City catches a break with the penalty on Sharif Floyd.
Floyd will be coming in. You'll see the late hit that takes place. Coming right over Grubbs, the right guard again, and that right hand goes across Alex Smith's face mask, and once again, Boger right there on top of it to see it.
So a new set of downs from the 25-yard line for the Chiefs. The give is to DeAnthony Thomas working out of the backfield, and he's got a yard, no more. There's a rookie anchoring the Kansas City offensive line, Mitch Morse, second-round draft pick out of Missouri. And the Chiefs lost Jamal Charles to a knee injury last week. Charkandrick West, one of those, along with Niall Davis trying to fill that void. Alex Smith has been sacked 21 times this season. Going to give it to West. and West across the 30 to about the 32. The Vikings front four see Donnell Hunter filling in for Everson Griffin, who showed up sick at the park today. Three terrific linebackers, including Eric Kendricks, the best linebacker in college football last year, the second-round pick from UCLA. And it'll be fun watching number 22 today, the hard-hitting safety Harrison Smith. 3rd and 4. Smith on the crossing pattern hits his man Chris Conley, the rookie out of Georgia. And that will be enough for a first down at the 35-yard line.
Conley's getting more and more work as he's getting comfortable. He missed the majority of the preseason with an injury and is just now starting to get into the flow of the offense, getting the start today for Albert Wilson. And talked to Alex Smith about him last night. He just said he feels comfortable getting more and more reps with him, and he's a big target that can push the ball up the field.
Conley at 6'3", 205 to give us to Niall Davis. Davis across the 40. Squeezes out to about the 49-yard line. A pickup of 9 on the play, and Andrew Sendejo with the stop. Never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play, every story, and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile. I mentioned Alex Smith's been sacked 21 times. His uniform should be part green and part dirt.
They've had a lot of shuffling along the offensive line and moving guys in and out of position. So
this is Davis, and Davis going to lose a couple of yards looking for the first down. Linval Joseph Brian Robison leading the defensive charge. Here's Niall Davis, who the defense would say he does have a case of the quicks. You can't let him break into open space.
He has a lot of speed. He gets into the open field. Last year as a backup to Jamal Charles had 463 yards rushing, so he can carry the load. He's just a little bit different style runner than Charkandrick West.
3rd and 3 for the Chiefs. Smith going to throw for it. Shakes 2 tacklers, can't shake the 3rd. Eric Kendricks with the stop.
The Vikings act like they're going to bring pressure with the guys they have up in the box. Harrison Smith up front, but you'll see the 4 guys rush, and then late you're going to see coming off, and that's who ultimately gets the sack. Kendricks, you can see spying over the middle, and as you see Alex Smith step up, he gets to the backfield and is able to get the sack, but causing some confusion with the offensive line, putting that many guys in the box.
Colquitt, line drive punt, fair catch called for and made at the 18-yard line by Marcus Sherrills. 1:08 to play in the first quarter. 3-0 Vikes. Just what we were talking about Alex Smith. Is it a question of him holding the ball too long?
There's a combination of that. There has been some shuffling on the offensive line, and you saw the most sacked quarterback was Russell Wilson, so he and Alex both are mobile guys. Sometimes they can try and do too much.
This is Adrian Peterson and Ramik Wilson making the stop. Hey, your weekend starts here with Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Speaking of Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks will take on San Francisco here on your home to Super Bowl 50. CBS Sports. And that is Ramik Wilson on the turf. The rookie linebacker out of Georgia. We'll take a break. Just a reminder, Week 6 continues later today here on CBS and for some of you on Fox. And tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Ramik Wilson, Trent.
Ramik Wilson right here in the middle of your screen. You're going to see when he makes the tackle, Derek Johnson is going to fall into that right leg. You see right there. And as you see the pile coming, his leg gets bent underneath. Now, he was down for a couple minutes. The team doctor looked at his ankle and his knee on the right leg, but he did get up and jog off the field.
You see him walking along the sideline now. We'll keep track of that. Meanwhile, 2nd and 7 for the Vikings. Jarrett McKinnon in the backfield for Minnesota. Bridgewater, far sideline. That shoulder pass is a good one. Stephon Diggs. I don't know how a guy makes a bigger impact in 2 games than young Mr. Diggs has so far.
I don't know how they kept him off the field in these last 2 games. He's been able to. Here he beats Peters on an out route. This time he beats Sean Smith over on the far sideline. Able to pick up big yards. We're not even out of the first quarter yet. He's got 4 receptions for 81 yards.
In his debut against Denver, he had 6 catches for 87. Adrian Peterson, nowhere to go, buried at the 36-yard line. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. 3-0,
This is the end
Minnesota.
of the first quarter.
Back to Minneapolis after this. Back for the start of the second quarter here in Minneapolis, 3-0 Minnesota. And take a look at this. This quarterback comparison is really no comparison at all right now.
Well, and Alex Smith has been taking a lot of shots too. Even on those pass attempts that he was able to get away, he's been taking some big hits. Most of their stuff has been up underneath, whereas Teddy Bridgewater has been pushing the ball up the field.
2nd and 15. Bridgewater throwing far side of the field, and that is caught by Mike Wallace. And out of bounds at about midfield, about 2 yards shy of a first down. What about AP today?
Well, it's one of those things. You just keep giving him the ball. He's got 9 rushing attempts for -1 yards. The Chiefs are focused on stopping him, but after talking with Derek Johnson last night, he said you got to stay on top of him all 4 quarters because he's a guy that by the 4th quarter, he's still going to be as strong as he was in the first quarter.
That pass to the far side of the field to Peterson is snuffed by Justin Houston.
Nice play out in space by Justin Houston, normally a pass rush specialist, and that time putting him out in coverage. But getting back to Adrian Peterson, it's just a, as an offense, you want to just keep feeding it to him because you know he's going to, at some point in time, break one, or you think he's going to break one. But as Derek Johnson told us, he doesn't lose his endurance. He's just as strong in the 4th at the end of the game as he is at the beginning.
Anthony Thomas from the 6-yard line breaks away across the 15 and out to the 20-yard line. That's something you don't see against the special teams squad of the Minnesota Vikings because Jeff Locke doesn't have very many yards returned against his kicks.
No, it's amazing when you start looking at the kickoff return yardage. They had only had 5 punts returned against them for a total of 4 yards coming into today, and you can see from that return right there, definitely more than doubles that.
13 yards. These 2 teams met back in Super Bowl 4.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
You tell them, Hank. Hank Stram's game plan worked perfectly for the Chiefs. Mike Garrett's second quarter TD put the game out of reach, and the Chiefs beat the Vikings 23-7. The first of 4 Super Bowls the Vikings lost over an 8-year span. From the 21-yard line, Smith stepping out of trouble, throwing, and that's Sharkandrick West out of the backfield. Shakes 1 tackler across the 25 to about the 27, and we've got a penalty marker down. And it's going to be a hold.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Donald Stevenson guilty of the hold. We go to New York for our first update of the day. JB and Coach Collins.
Greg, I'm sure Trent would squirm on this play.
Yeah, Trent, you got to make sure you don't stare down that receiver. Aqib Talib steps in front of a Josh McCown pass, 63 yards for the touchdown, his 2nd of the year, the 4th defensive score of the year for the Denver Broncos. They go up 10-0.
They don't be late and flat, huh?
Don't telegraph it either, Trent.
Greg, Trent, and Stacy.
Hey, Coach, don't stare it down now. Don't stare down that flat. They'll jump it. Denver's been doing that all year, though.
1st and 20. Smith, quick one. This is Kelsey. Kelsey with another flag. 2 flags thrown. 1 at the line of scrimmage, 1 out of the defensive backfield.
They're going to call Macklin with blocking while the ball was in the air.
Pass interference. Offense, number 19. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
And that is Macklin. Kansas City.
You can't start your block before or as the ball's in the air. You'll see right here the contact that's made while the ball is still in the air. That's what the officials call matching for.
We have Kansas City coming into this game with the second fewest penalties in the NFL. They've committed 3 today.
Well, when you think about their 3 drives, they keep getting these penalties. When they get a nice chunk of yardage, then a penalty brings it back. And here they are once again down inside their own 10.
1st and 25. This is West. Out to the 7. And Eric Kendricks making the play.
One has a defense that just kind of feeds you and gives you energy, gets you excited when you back a team up like this. And now this is the second possession that the Chiefs have had down inside their own territory, and especially with the penalties, so the distance that's about to make. So as a defensive lineman, you know you want to get upfield, try and get those hits that Alex Smith has taken so many of already today.
Kansas City, 10 offensive plays, managed just 13 yards. Do they miss Jamal Charles? On 2nd and 23, Smith. Out of the pocket, throwing far sideline. That's complete to Anthony Sherman, and Sherman out of bounds at about the 20. This is what happened to Jamal Charles last week against Chicago. Tore his right ACL midway through the 3rd quarter, his 2nd career ACL tear. Tore his left one early in the 2011 season. He recovered from that one to run for a career high 1,509 yards the following season in 2012.
Well, if you look at so far today, here we are nearly 4 minutes into the 2nd quarter, and the Chiefs only have 16 yards rushing. 3rd and 10, you look to put the ball up in the air again.
Smith going down at the 18-yard line. Sharif Floyd, Donnell Hunter.
You can see the pressure that collapses around Alex Smith, and they're really only rushing the 4 guys off the edge. You'll see the pressure that comes to the outside. Donald Stevenson getting beat. Hunter making his first start is the one able to get that sack, but just nowhere for Alex Smith to go with the football. And you saw him looking upfield, and he double pumped, double clutched a couple of times. Gonna have to try and get some underneath stuff. I know on 3rd and 10, you're trying to push it down the field.
Marcus Sherrills from the 41. Forward to about the 49-yard line. 10:52 to play. Viking defense with plenty of reason to celebrate early on. Next Sunday, wake up and watch with the world for the first time ever. The NFL streaming a live game on Yahoo. Bills versus Jaguars live from London, October 25th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Learn more at yahoo.com/NFL stream. As we welcome you back to Minneapolis, it's clear, Andy Reid talked about doing a better job of coaching and putting these players in a better position to win a game. What does he have to do?
Well, the problem is right now it's the Chiefs offensively, too many penalties, so they're pushing themselves into a hole every time they've got long down and distances trying to convert, and then offensively the Vikings have been able to move the ball all over the field.
Bridgewater, nice defensive play made at the 30-yard line. Pass intended for the tight end Kyle Rudolph, and it looked like Ron Parker breaking it up.
Well, and it's important to mention also the Vikings have moved the ball all over the field, but they've only settled for that 1 field goal because of the key turnover that Ron Parker got in the end zone in the 1st quarter.
Meanwhile, the Vikings need to get Adrian Peterson started. This is Peterson to the 46 of the Chiefs, and Ramik Wilson, who is back into the lineup on defense, making that stop.
Well, that was one of the ones you heard the crowd kind of gasp when Adrian Peterson got through the initial line of scrimmage. He hasn't had that all day, at negative yards going into that play, so got the crowd a little bit excited when they saw him get to that linebacker depth before Wilson was able to bring him down.
3rd and 4, movement up front will make it more than 3rd and 4. That's
False
TJ
start.
Clemmings, the rookie.
Offense, number 68, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
You see on the previous play, ball is almost punched out by Ramik Wilson, comes loose on his hip, and that was one of the things the Chiefs talked to us about is Adrian Peterson. Yes, he's a fierce runner. Yes, he's fast when he gets in the open field, but sometimes he's a little loose with the football. So because he's fighting for those extra yards, you have the ability to punch it out, and that time there, the Chiefs almost get it away.
And Teddy Bridgewater calls timeout. With
Timeout,
time running
Minnesota.
down on him.
They're first.
9:56 to play here in the first half. Beautiful, spectacular scenery here in the city of Minneapolis. Welcome back. 3rd and 9. The ball close to midfield. Bridgewater running out of time. Throws it to the near side. That's Asiata out of the backfield inside the 45 to about the 41. Close to a first down.
Considering how good the Vikings have done defensively and that the Chiefs haven't been able to move the ball, if this is short of the first down, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for it here on 4th down. Bridgewater stepping up in the pocket to avoid the pressure, knowing where his outlet is, gets it out to Asiata, making Abdullah miss, and I don't think they're even gonna get a measurement. A lot of times they'll give him a measurement just to see how far they have to go.
It looks to be less than half a yard from here, and there's a challenge flag thrown by Mike Zimmer. So I would think he's going to challenge the spot.
You would think, but I can't believe a lot of times as a quarterback or a coach, if it's less than a yard, you ask for a measurement, they'll give it to you. And I think that's what he's arguing right there, trying to find out how far away it is, and so he had to use a challenge flag.
Minnesota is challenging the rule in the field of the ball being short of the line to gain.
I think that's what he had more. I think that's what he had more of an issue with.
Welcome back, everyone, as they are checking the spot. Here's Jerome Boger.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as the ball carrier being stopped short of the line to gain. Minnesota is charged their first challenge and a timeout.
Mike Carey joins us from New York. Mike, can a coach or the quarterback request a measurement, or is that strictly up to the referee?
No, we listen to what the coach asked for because it's his decision what kind of play he's going to run, so that way they can see how much yardage they need. As you see, when the runner's forearm goes down, the ball is short of that 0. Right in the middle of the 0 is that 1 yard line stripe, which was the line to gain. That one I could have confirmed.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Kansas City's defense has held opponents to 0 for 4 on 4th down attempts. Peterson straight ahead, got the first down to the 40-yard line.
And some of that may have been with that 4th down request or the challenge by Mike Zimmer is maybe the play clock had gone down too low, and that's why they didn't get the measurement, because of play clock. You see here Adrian Peterson driving his legs, pushing that right side of the offensive line, pick up the first down.
So the ball just inside the Kansas City 40. Bridgewater throwing. Incomplete. Near side of the field. Diggs reaching for the ball. Couldn't come down with that one. I want to remind you, Monday, October 26th, find out why critics are saying Supergirl is the TV superhero we've been waiting for. Supergirl premieres Monday, October 26th after a new Big Bang Theory only CBS.
Look for the Vikings to continue to try and push the ball up the field in the passing game. Entering today, the Chiefs are 27th in pass defense, and you can see the amount of yards that the Vikings have already accumulated today through the air.
The pitch for Peterson. Peterson with room to run up the middle to the 35-yard line. You know, going back to Stephon Diggs, he wasn't even on our list of guys to talk to on Friday, and he was just walking by our meeting room and just popped in to say hello and ended up sitting down and having a conversation.
Oh, it was great. He, the door was open. We were waiting for the next guy to come in, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, what's going on in here? How you doing? Hey, I'm Stefan. How you guys?" And high energy, definitely high energy. As we were telling Coach Zimmer about the story, he said, "Yeah, that guy definitely brings the energy to practice every day."
Boy, as he produced in his opportunities so far. Bridgewater throwing incomplete near the 20-yard line, and a penalty flag flies.
Steven Nelson is going to be the one called on it. Don't know if it's going to be roughing the passer or going low on the quarterback. Bridgewater had to throw that ball early in anticipation of where the route was going to come out.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Illegal contact, defense number 39. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, low tackle on the quarterback, defense number 20. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Steven Nelson is the one who hit Bridgewater low.
You'll see Steven Nelson, he's coming off the edge here, and he's the one that's going to get called on the low hit to Teddy Bridgewater. Comes unblocked, isn't blocked by a defender down low. Losing his footing, and officials are doing a better job of protecting quarterbacks' knees now.
So first down from the 20 now. Peterson in the backfield. Peterson with the football.
Ball on the
Ball's
ground.
loose at the 15-yard line. And it looks like it was covered by Minnesota.
Fumble, recovered by a teammate, second down.
So it's already the second time today that Adrian Peterson, getting through that first wave of tacklers, has had the ball punched out. They've been fortunate both times to bring it back in.
Joe Berger, the center, the one who covered the loose ball, 2nd and 5. Bridgewater with time, throws. This is Rhett Ellison, and Ellison inside the 5 to about the 4.
They were trying to get Peterson and Cordero Patterson out to the right, and the check down here is on the backside to Ellison. That's why he's so uncovered. He was part of the protection before leaking out to the left, and outstanding job by Bridgewater, looking at his first couple of reads to that strong side and being able to know where his check down is, getting back to it.
Outstanding job by Ellison holding on to the football when you get hit high and low. First and goal.
You could see he had the mindset he was going for it. As a defensive player, you could just tell that he was going to try diving for it.
First and goal. Peterson. Maybe a yard. Mike DeVito making the stop. Going back to what Derek Johnson said about Adrian Peterson, he's one of those guys, he can run past you and he can run through you.
And that's the thing, that's what makes him such a special back, is, and here we see DeVito is unblocked.
Number 74 is an eligible receiver. 74 is eligible.
Matt Khalil, the left tackle, was pulling on the play, and DeVito just read it, ran right down the line of scrimmage, was able to get the tackle for loss.
Second and goal. Peterson again. Stood up at the line of scrimmage. Wow.
You could hear that all the way up here. The initial contact looks like Alan Bailey once again and Jay Howard.
There's Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator. His defense has done a terrific job so far. Third trip to the red zone, they've allowed just one field goal. Third and goal. Bridgewater over the middle, touchdown! Tight end Kyle Rudolph with his second touchdown catch of the season.
Kyle Rudolph will be lined up. Here he is. He's going up here. You're going to see Adrian Peterson come out on a crossing route. So the defense jumps on Peterson on the crossing route, leaving that lane for Rudolph in the back end zone. He's able to just beat Barry to get to the back line.
See if he's holding on to the football. He does. The extra point is good. 4:43 remains in the first half. We get our first touchdown of the day. And the Minnesota Vikings grab a 10-point lead. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50. It's a 10-0 Viking lead on Kansas City. Want to remind you, Saturday, the SEC on CBS brings you the best game from the best conference when the Tennessee Volunteers visit the Alabama Crimson Tide. It all begins live at 3 Eastern with college football today, right here on CBS Sports. A 51-yard drive capped by the Bridgewater touchdown pass. And DeAnthony Thomas is deep. And will not get a chance to run this one out of the end zone. They'll start from their own 20. We check in downstairs with Stacy.
Well, Greg, these gloves helped Teddy on that last touchdown, just his third passing touchdown to Kyle Rudolph of the season. He goes through 4 of these per game. He wears a pair in early warm-up, and then he wears a pair in late warm-up. He gives them away to the fans. He gives a pair away after halftime, and he gives a pair away after the game. You're in good hands with Teddy Bridgewater, and he told us, guys, he's a Miami boy, goes to Louisville. The cold weather affected him, so he wears these gloves to keep the hands tight, to keep the ball tight, and clearly effective on that last touchdown.
Thank you, Stacy. This is Niall Davis. Don't you get the impression Stacy's taking those gloves home with her?
She's keeping those.
Yeah, exactly.
She's keeping them. But yeah, that's an interesting point about Teddy Bridgewater, because I grew up in the Midwest, been around the cold, so I never wore gloves, whether it was cold, rainy, whatever it was. And Teddy Bridgewater said, coming from the South, going up to Louisville, and now being in Minnesota, he just feels comfortable. So no matter what the climate is, no matter what the weather is, he feels good throwing in gloves.
You said you wanted to feel the football.
I did. I like feeling the football. I never wore the gloves. It just wasn't something I was comfortable with.
On 2nd and 7, Alex Smith. That's complete. Far side of the field. Forward progress going to be marked at about the 28. Demetrius Harris on the receiving end. So it'll be 3rd and 1. So to go through those changes again that Stacy was talking about, after the early warm-up, and then after the pregame warm-up, and then after the first half, changes them after the game. You wear them home.
He said it's a minimum of 4 times. He even said in the course of the game, my hands start getting sweaty or getting wet, I'll change them in the course of a half. So Chiefs desperately need to pick up this 3rd down, as so far dominated by the Minnesota Vikings today. In time of possession, plays, yards.
Niall Davis is brought up a yard short. And once again, Eric Kendricks, the rookie middle linebacker from UCLA, making the play.
Well, and they desperately needed that. As I mentioned, plays, the Vikings have 33 plays to the Chiefs 15. Chiefs have only converted 1 of 5 on 3rd down. Dustin Colquitt coming on the field again to make the punt.
That Minnesota defense was last in the NFL, forcing 3 and outs today. They've done that on 3 of the first 4 Kansas City drives. This is Sherrill. Fair catch call for and made at about the 16 or the 17-yard line. So 2:35 remaining to be played here in the first half. Tomorrow on CBS, the teams of geniuses throws a Hail Mary, stop a bomb from landing in the wrong hands, catch a brilliant new Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS.
Well, going back to that Vikings defense, Greg, it's just, talking to Mike Zimmer, talking to George Edwards, defensive coordinator, just how excited they were about what they have on that side of the ball. They know it hasn't been all pretty all season long because it's still a lot of young players over there, but they feel good about what they have going on the defensive side. And after today, they feel good about their offense as well.
Teddy Bridgewater with the gloves. And they give it to Jerick McKinnon. I'm intrigued by the gloves thing. So you didn't even give it a second thought whether it was cold out or whether it was wet, whether the ball was wet, it was raining?
Yeah, I never did. You know, here we have a timeout about Kansas City, but you know what? The gloves just never felt good. I tried them one time when it was cold outside. I said, you know what? Let me see how this works, and I just didn't like the feel of it. I like feeling the football.
We have a timeout called on the field by Kansas City. And a reminder for you, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB and the guys back in New York. For all the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Second and 8, with 2.5 to play in the first half. Bridgewater. And that's knocked down at the 30-yard line by Marcus Peters, the rookie.
And that was anticipation on Marcus Peters' part. He was playing in off coverage against Mike Wallace, and just a curl route coming back. And Marcus Peters is actually a little upset with himself. He got the ball knocked down. You could hear him screaming that get that other hand out there. It could have been another pick six for him.
Against Denver, he returned 155 yards for a touchdown.
And that's one area of concern for this defense. They're an aggressive defense, but they don't create very many turnovers. Only 2 interceptions on the season, both of them by Marcus Peters. And then the one today by Ron Parker.
That one thrown away on the far side of the field as he was pressured out of the backfield. Tamba Ali and Justin Houston giving chase.
Much needed stop, much needed 3 and out for the Chiefs defense. Be a little better field position also for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Are you stunned that they just can't generate any offense?
It is. I know they're missing Jamal Charles, but it is just stunning when you're at this point. You've only got 28 yards of offense.
This needs a short kick. Going to bounce just across midfield and take a Minnesota roll, and a penalty marker flies. This flag was thrown early.
Holding, receiving team, number 20. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. Kansas City kicks the ball. First down.
So Steven Nelson guilty of the foul. The football team at Bismarck High School in North Dakota recently got a surprise visit from the Vikings' Charles Johnson and Chad Greenway, who talked to the team about concussion awareness. Bismarck High School is the grand prize winner of a concussion survey and was awarded a 24-person suite at the Seahawks-Vikings game upcoming on December the 6th.
You say 24-person suite?
Yeah.
So how are they deciding who all gets to go there? A bunch of them high school kids are going to be lobbying to be the ones that get in there, right? Maybe they'll raffle it off with their team or something.
Kansas City with their best field position to start. From the 31. Smith, quick pass to the sideline, complete and out of bounds at the 35-yard line is Jason Avant. And we get the 2-minute warning, 2 minutes to play here in the first half. 10-0 Vikes. 2 minutes to play, you see the futility the Kansas City Chiefs have suffered so far on offense. 4 possessions, 4 punts, and it manages 2 first downs. 16 plays and 32 total yards. Chiefs with 2 timeouts remaining, Minnesota with 1. Smith to the near side. That is complete to Jeremy Maclin, the former Philadelphia Eagle, drafted by Andy Reid in Philadelphia.
Well, he told us yesterday that he's playing a different position. I asked him about moving around. He said that was really more not his role in Philadelphia, and he feels comfortable doing this and finding different ways to get open.
Quick pass to this side, and this time he overthrew West coming out of the backfield. So what's been working for Alex Smith today? Not much.
There hasn't been a lot. If you look, he's 6 of 9 for 35 yards. So pushing the ball up the field hasn't been a lot of success. The time he has had some completions up the field has been brought back because of penalties. Most of his throws have connected underneath or on short routes.
The plus would be getting Santos in field goal range. He has a strong leg. 2nd and 10. Throwing this side again and grab at about the 46-yard line by Chris Conley.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and short, and as you said, sorry about that, Greg. As you said, the clock is ticking. You want to preserve your timeouts, hang on to them. And if you don't make the 3rd down, then you definitely don't want to give Minnesota more time. So it's crucial to get the 1st down here.
3rd and 2. On the slant and right through the hands of Chris Conley. 4th and 2. What does Andy Reid do?
Looks like he's going to punt it. Doesn't want to give Minnesota the field position. Minnesota has 1 timeout left and a minute to go, so instead of having them go 15 yards for a field goal or 50 yards for a touchdown, making them work the length of the field.
Dr. Sherrill's back at his own 10. Close to being blocked, hanging it up, and caught and down at the 5-yard line by Jamel Fleming. Nice special teams play by the Kansas City team. Just a reminder, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the guys for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Look for Minnesota to run the football here and just try and go to halftime. Kansas City only has the 2 timeouts left. So it could ultimately force them to punt, depending on how quickly these run plays are.
Peterson, the deep back. And Peterson getting the football and tripped up at the 5, falling forward to the 6. And we get a timeout called by Kansas City.
You notice how he had both hands wrapped onto that time? He went back and wrapped it up that time.
Mike
Timeout,
DeVito.
Kansas City. Their 2nd.
On the turf.
This is a 30-second timeout.
And really hasn't moved.
Good to see him lift his head a little bit, and you see him wiggle his finger, so that's a good sign, but don't want to speculate because he hasn't moved a whole lot.
Let's take a look.
You see DeVito here. You see number 70 there as he's going down to the ground.
And looked to be undercut a little bit by his own man, Derek Johnson.
It's hard to tell from that what exactly happened, but it's good to see him moving his legs now.
I move my legs when I'm in intense agony and pain.
You know, hopefully it's not to make light of it, but hopefully it's just a stinger or something like that. But you know, they seem to be taking it very seriously.
Yeah, they're not moving him at all.
Let's see if we can see it again. He's right there. That's where he's locked up. He comes off the play. You see him get him. And the only thing that could maybe happen is his own man. Well, he's up now. So that's good. He's up and walking off the field. Looked like maybe his own man, Jay Howard, shoulder into the top of his helmet. But it's good to see him up and moving off the field.
Nick Williams, a second-year defensive lineman out of Samford, will replace him. Second and 10. Each team now with 1 timeout remaining. And this is Peterson again. And once again, Peterson with nowhere to go. Wrapped up by Derek Johnson.
Timeout,
And
Kansas
we
City.
get a Kansas City
Their
timeout.
third
That
and
is their
final.
third.
This is a 30-second timeout.
So trying to decide if you have enough time to force the Vikings to punt here. The Chiefs are now out of timeouts. So depending on how long this play lasts, you could basically run it all the way down.
And not have to snap the ball again.
Well, based off what happened in Ann Arbor last night, you can't speculate anything. If you get this down to with a couple seconds, you're like, oh, you got a couple seconds, we'll just punt it away and into the half. So
we just had minor heart flutters in the production truck.
I know it's coming.
And the give is going to be to Matt Asiata. And he winds his way out close to the 10-yard line.
it can run out. They don't have to run another play because looks like a fraction of a second underneath. So
Mike DeVito leaving the field early. We'll get a report on him as soon as we can. The Vikings don't have to run another play, and they won't. So the Kansas City Chiefs with much to talk about in the locker room at halftime. They have been shut out here in the first half. The Minnesota Vikings with a Blair Walsh field goal and a Teddy Bridgewater touchdown pass. 10-0 Vikes. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50. Welcome back to Minneapolis. In the first half, Alex Smith, the Kansas City quarterback, just hasn't been able to get anything going. The Minnesota defense has been all over him. Meanwhile, Teddy Bridgewater has found some receivers, put a touchdown on the board, and at halftime, it's the Vikings 10 and Kansas City nothing. Time now for Who Are You Lovin', presented by McDonald's, and that lone touchdown was Teddy Bridgewater to Kyle Rudolph, his tight end, held on at the back end of the end zone, the only touchdown of the day on the board so far. Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel, along with Trent Green. Boy, talk about wanting to be a fly on the wall. Wonder what was going on at halftime in that Kansas City locker room and how Andy Reid figures to straighten this out.
Well, first off, from an offensive standpoint, yes, it's clear they missed Jamal Charles. They haven't gotten any kind of running game going whatsoever. They've tried the different combination of Nile Davis and Charkandrick West, but they still haven't gotten much going in the run game department. Passing game department, they're not pushing the ball up the field. They don't have time to push the ball up the field. We saw there Alex Smith getting smothered, the amount of times he's taking hits, not only the sacks, but the amount of times he's taking hits. So offensively, they haven't been able to get anything done. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they've been able to stop Adrian Peterson, but they haven't been able to stop Teddy Bridgewater as he's throwing the ball all over the field.
What's key in the second half?
Well, I think for offense, you just have to find something that works. You need to get first downs. Time of possession, first downs, number of plays is completely lopsided in the Vikings' favor. And then for the Vikings, try and get some kind of run game going. I know with Adrian Peterson, he gets stronger as the game goes because that endurance level for him is such a high level. So continue to try pushing the ball to Adrian as this game moves forward.
Meanwhile, at halftime, they were honoring a bunch of players who have taken part in past Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl. Carl Eller is here. Jerry Burns, Jerry Reichow, Marshall, great names in Minnesota Vikings history. Nile Davis is deep. And this one will not be returnable. It goes into and out of the end zone for the touchback, and we check in downstairs with Stacey Dale. Stacey.
Hey guys, the Chiefs have a lot of work to do, but so too do the Vikings. I just talked to Mike Zimmer, the head coach, and he told me displeased with the run game and that turnover in the red zone. In terms of running the football better, he said the Chiefs blitzing on virtually every defensive snap. So they got to spread them out, he said, offensively and get them to bite on a little bit of play action. Really happy, though, with Teddy Bridgewater's ability to throw the football in the first half, and both sides of the ball on third downs, guys, very effective for these Vikings.
All right, Stacey, thank you very much. But I'm saying it's a moral victory for this Kansas City defense, the way they've put the clamps on Adrian Peterson so far. Now looking for some offense. Charkandrick West in the backfield with Alex Smith on first down, and West doesn't get the ball. The pass is made, and it is incomplete. Intended for Chris Conley as Smith held onto the ball and rolled to the left as we look at first half numbers. Not very much offense.
Not a lot of good you can say there, Greg, for the Kansas City Chiefs. And obviously the Vikings controlling the time of possession, moving the football through the air mainly. That one key turnover on the first possession of the game by the Chiefs defense. Ron Parker coming up with the interception in the end zone.
Alex Smith just 43 yards throwing the football. Adds to that with the pass out to the 25-yard line, and that is complete to Travis Kelce. The thing about Jamal Charles, Alex Smith told us, his loss affects the entire playbook because in addition to a terrific runner, he's also a terrific pass receiver.
And they utilized him in so many different ways. They'd motion him to the outside, they'd swing him out of the backfield, and then Alex even said when protection would break down, I always knew where Jamal Charles was because even if he was third or fourth in my progression, if things broke down, I knew I could just flip him the ball.
Now he knows where Jamal isn't. 3rd and 4. Over the middle, that's complete. Across the 35 to the 38 is Kelce for a first down and a much-needed first down for Alex Smith.
Much needed indeed. Coming out of halftime, they needed to get something going offensively. Kelce going from right to left there on our screen. You see him get underneath the coverage and accurate throw. Good protection that time for Alex Smith, getting the ball out of his hands quickly and picking up the first down.
So the line of scrimmage for Kansas City, now their own 39. This is West. For 2, maybe 2.5 to 3 out to the 42. Jamal Charles, you think he's missed much? That 5.47 yards per rush, the highest in NFL history. More than 7,000 rushing yards and more than 9,600 yards from scrimmage. He's made an impact on this Kansas City franchise.
Well, and he's one of the leaders in the locker room. Alex talked about, when he's not in the huddle, Jamal is the guy that's in there giving him the rah-rah and getting him energized, and not only on game day, but in the practice field, and he's missed in a number of ways.
That pass is complete on the far side of the field. Albert Wilson, and that's another Kansas City first down. A word from the sideline regarding Kansas City defensive end Mike DeVito as he has suffered a concussion and will not return today.
Have a look at Albert Wilson there, coming up with that catch for the first down, being replaced in the starting lineup by Conley.
This 31-yard drive, the longest of the afternoon for the Chiefs. Smith on first down, on the move, and slides down at about the 46-yard line.
We can say all we want about the pressure that the Vikings have been able to apply up front, but some of that is due to the coverage down the field. That time Alex Smith stepping up, looking to go downfield, scanning to his left, and obviously having to take off and run. So Vikings have done a good job with the coverage as well, not letting anybody get behind.
We talked about what's at stake for both these teams, and boy, the Chiefs staring down the barrel of a 5-game losing streak if they don't find a way to come back in this 2nd and 7. Smith, and on the slant, and a nice catch, and he lost it. Incomplete. Chris Conley had it for a moment, couldn't hold on.
Slant route by Conley that Alex Smith squeezes in between 2 defenders. Just not able to hang on to it. A little bit of a back shoulder throw. Would have been a difficult catch to hang on to.
So now a 3rd and 7. Smith pulls it down, going to go deep and incomplete. Intended for Chris Conley, covered well by Terrence Newman, the 13-year veteran cornerback.
Well, Newman was in good coverage, and he's asking the official for offensive pass interference. He felt like Conley was restricting him from going after that ball and getting the interception. Alex Smith taking a shot up the field, and you can understand why Newman was calling for the penalty. Conley grabbed him with both arms.
Dustin Colquitt kicking it away. Not a great kick at all. This is going to be marked out at about the 25-yard line, 26, 27, the 27-yard line. That's a 19-yard punt for the veteran Dustin Colquitt. .25 to play in the third. Minnesota with the ball in a 10-point lead at their own 27-yard line. Peterson breaking to the outside, and look out, Adrian Peterson to midfield. (19 yards, or 23 yards, excuse me, in a first down.
Well, and this is a lesson for rookie Marcus Peters. He comes in, takes a poor angle. You see him right there, number 22. Comes inside, not understanding. Yes, Adrian Peterson is a hard runner, but he also has the speed to bounce it outside with that poor angle, and that poor leverage allowed Adrian Peterson to bounce outside and get his biggest gain of the day.
From midfield, the pass to the near side, complete to Diggs, and Diggs almost broke it. Tamba Ali making a saving tackle at about the 32-yard line.
Well, Diggs had a very effective first quarter. Didn't hear much from him in that second quarter, but now getting started here in the second half. Nearing 100 yards receiving already on the day.
Made his debut against Denver and made an impression. First and 10. Peterson waiting for his block, squeeze through for maybe about 4.
Well, that was the thing when talking to Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, about how you have to gang tackle Adrian Peterson, and you have to, just when you think one guy's in position, you have to have all 11 guys pursuing to the ball, because he can slip out of that one tackle, slip out of 2 tackles. You have to make sure you're giving full effort on every play, because you never know when he's going to break.
They pick up a 3, and on second down, Bridgewater throw, far side, incomplete. Mike Wallace acting as if he should have had it.
Oh, he should have had it, Greg. That was a good throw by Teddy Bridgewater. It's a timing route. You see him, he hits five hit and throw. Wallace was turned around, hit him right in the hands. You can see the body language and the yelling that he gave that he wasn't real happy with that.
So now Minnesota with a 3rd and 7. Bridgewater straight drop over the middle. That is complete, but it's going to be short of a first down. Kyle Rudolph, the tight end, making the catch at about the 27, which would be 2 yards shy of a first. And onto the field comes Blair Walsh and the field goal unit.
Well, and the thing is as lopsided as this has been today, Greg, and you look at the numbers, you look at just the momentum of the game, the way everything's been flowing. Even if the Vikings make this kick, even if Walsh makes this kick here, it's still a 2-possession game. So that's important for the Chiefs sideline to remember that it hasn't gotten away.
Walsh from 45 yards. 8:51 to play in the third. 3 more on the board for the Vikings, who now lead at 13-0. You saw the new Viking Stadium being built, now about 75% complete. Scheduled to open next season. The new stadium will be home to Super Bowl 52 in 2018, as well as the 2019 Final Four. I believe state of the art would apply very well
I just like how the doors were swinging open there, so you can make it an inside-outside feel. It's not a retractable roof, but the way they're using the clear roof and the clear panels there, it brings a lot of daylight into it.
D'Anthony Thomas will be able to run this one back from a yard deep in the end zone to the 15 and forward to the 20-yard line. With 8:45 to play, it's Minnesota by 13. Andy Reid's offense has been struggling, to say the least. One touchdown drive over the last 3 games, and that includes today. It's 27 drives, 11 quarters, 1 touchdown drive. With Charkandrick West in the backfield, here's Alex Smith. High snap, he handles it, quick slant, and he's got his man across the 30 to the 34. That's Travis Kelce once again. I want to remind you, coming up next here on CBS, Game 2 of our doubleheader, the San Diego Chargers visiting Green Bay, undefeated Packers led by Aaron Rodgers, or the Ravens battle the 49ers. It's all here on CBS Sports, the home of Super Bowl 50. Five unbeaten teams in the NFL.
You see how that shakes out today, right?
On first down, this is West. And West across the 40 to the 42. It'll be 2 yards short of a first down.
I mentioned a little bit ago, Greg, about how the Chiefs need to realize that they're only 2 possessions away from being able to take this lead, and so they need to maintain that positive attitude. Well, the reverse can be said for the Vikings. They've done such a good job today defensively that they can't relax, because one big play will suddenly give the Chiefs life and get them back in the game, so they have to maintain their focus as well.
This is Niall Davis. And Davis gets the first down to the 45, and we go down to Stacy.
Well, guys, we wondered how the Vikes would come out after the bye, the Week 5 bye. I credit the head coach, Mike Zimmer. He actually admitted to us on Friday, being grouchier than normal, grinding his players hard this week, preaching, don't listen to the outside noise. A lot of people think this upcoming stretch is a soft part of the schedule, and they have been a focused front thus far, pitching the shutout currently, guys.
All right, Stacy, thank you. Under 7 minutes to play here in the third. On first down, Smith is going to go deep. And the catch inside the 20-yard line. We have a penalty marker down. Jeremy Macklin going up for the ball. And we have a marker down back at the line of scrimmage.
Alex Smith was getting hit as he was throwing that ball. And
holding, defense number 29. That penalty decline. The result of the play is a first down.
Third-year cornerback Xavier Rhodes guilty of the hold.
Jeremy Macklin coming from the slot there. Andrew Sendejo doesn't get turned around, doesn't locate the football, and Macklin's able to jump over the top of him and come up with that catch.
So look at the Chiefs all the way down to the 16-yard line. On the 39-yard pickup, first down. Smith fakes it going over to the near side, flips it to West, and West to about the 10.
Good time to set up a screen, knowing the Vikings are going to be reeling a little bit from that big game up the field, and that time getting into a more manageable down inside, down to the 10-yard line.
As you look at the numbers between Alex Smith and Teddy Bridgewater, you can kind of sense this Chiefs offense feeling a little better about itself on this drive.
Well, if you look at the numbers compared to what they were at halftime, it's definitely been more in the favor of the Chiefs and what they've been able to do, especially through the air.
2nd and 4. West to about the 6. And that's very close to a first down.
Almost that left side of the line over there behind Grubbs. that they're pushing the pile. As you see Alex Smith on this drive, 3 of 3 for 59 yards. The big gain coming to Macklin.
Is an eligible receiver. 71 is eligible.
So it's 3rd and really inches. West is the deep back. The give is to the up back, and that's Anthony Sherman. And let's see where they spot this one.
I think if this ends up being short, you have to go for it here. You haven't gotten much production or much movement on the offensive side of the ball. Looks like they're going to get a measurement here.
From the near side, it looked like the spot was identical to where the ball was snapped on the previous play, but let's see.
Yeah, it appears it's going to be short, but I think if you're Andy Reid, you have to think real seriously about going for this on 4th down.
Cairo Santos is on the field, loosening up.
Well, that's what all kickers do. They get out there. They get out there to try and say, hey, I'm ready, I'm here, I'm available.
And Santos coming off the field. And Alex Smith going to stay on the field. So you're right, Trent. Kansas City's got to take advantage any time it gets down this deep, which has been never so far today. Fourth and 1, 4th and inches.
They took their jumbo personnel out. They had Jeff Allen in as the extra offensive lineman, now going with more of a personnel. Nobody's covering Macklin down here at the bottom of the screen.
West. Didn't make it. Sharif Floyd. From the far side of the field.
The rule of the field, and the runner was ruled down by contact, short of the line of the game. 1st down, Minnesota.
I've said it before, Trent, unblocked is a really nice way to play this game.
If you're unblocked in a short yardage situation, that's never a good thing.
4.5 to play in the 3rd quarter. The Viking defense holds. Minnesota takes over at its own 8-yard line.
Set.
Peterson racked up. Let's go back to that 4th down play where the Chiefs thought they had a case.
And Sharif Floyd comes unblocked right to the backfield. He's going to get the penetration. And as we were going to break, the Chiefs sideline was going crazy because they thought that West never touched the ground. His knee never went to the ground. And after these different replays, we couldn't see where he did touch the ground. But the officials had blown the play dead, and they made the announcement to the stadium that they couldn't challenge it because it was blown dead.
Bridgewater throws it away. Let's go to Mike Carey in New York. You saw the play, Mike?
Yes, I did, and here's the rule. When the ruling on the field is down by contact, it can't be reviewed because it's not like a fumble and a recovery. Once it's blown, everybody stops. And so the play is dead at that point.
You know, in an era where you can replay sunrise and sunset, it would seem to be logical that you got to be able to determine whether a runner was actually down or not.
Yes, but if everybody shuts down, then what do you do?
Well, clearly, the Chiefs thought that their guy never went down. Meanwhile, this pass is incomplete. Thank you, Mike.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 96 with a late hit. 15-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
That's the nose tackle, Jay Howard, and instead of the Chiefs looking to get the ball back here, they give new life to the Minnesota offense.
Would have been a big stop for the Chiefs. Clearly a late hit, letting some frustration out.
So instead of a chance of getting the ball back, it's out now to the 23-yard line and a 1st down. And Adrian Peterson, the whistle blew before the ball came out. And his forward progress is going to be marked at about the 24.5-yard line.
Progress has been stopped. Prior to the ball coming loose.
I think the Chiefs sideline and Chief fans are probably a little irritated by Jerome Boger saying the forward progress had been stopped based on the Charkandrick West play just previously on 4th down. So that's 2 times in the last 5 plays that's happened to them. But no, for the Minnesota Vikings now, they just need to keep some momentum going. They feel the frustration. Obviously, they just picked up the 1st down on the late hit.
Set. Sweetie, good hunt.
On 2nd and 8, Peterson trying to spin out of trouble and cannot. Jay Howard, the first hit on him, and I don't know when I've seen such a defensive effort on 28.
It's really been remarkable all day long. The Chiefs have been pursuing him and been stacking him up, and you know his longest run was that 23-yarder where Marcus Peters took a poor angle and let him bounce to the outside. But other than that, he's been wrapped up. You can see the frustration on his face.
So play clock now down to 10, and the Vikings just breaking the huddle. 3rd and 11. And a whistle and a flag. And this is going to back the Vikings up even more.
False start, snap infraction on the center. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
There is Adrian Peterson on the sideline. 13 carries for 2 yards or less. That's unheard of for one of the best running backs around.
And more than half of his carries he's had 2 yards or less. So that's pretty remarkable job by the Chiefs defense. And obviously they need to get some turnovers here. They need to put themselves in position to where they can score. Minnesota doing a good job of using up the play clock, even though it's still the end of the 3rd quarter. They've been winding the clock pretty good.
That pass tipped in the air and almost picked off. What a play by Justin Houston.
And that would have been the game changer that they were looking for.
Had it pegged right from the snap, didn't he?
Houston coming off the edge, just the quick screen. Bridgewater off of a couple steps, and you can see Clemmings attempts to chop Houston there on the outside, attempts to chop him and misses him. Houston just pushes off and really comes up with the interception, pick 6.
We get another flag at the line of scrimmage on the snap, DeAnthony Thomas. Across the 40 to the 43, and let's check yet another penalty marker. And Jerome still coming to a decision on the field.
Offside, defense, number 84. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. Kansas City keeps the ball. 1st down.
So it is Kansas City ball when we come back. 1:38 to play here in the 3rd. 13-0 Vikings. Some pretty important guys missing in action today.
We have a correction on the penalty enforcement. The offside penalty on the receiving team, number 84, is declined. Minnesota has elected to take the result of the play. 1st down.
So Jerome Boger reassessing the penalty call. Meanwhile, Everson Griffin showed up at the stadium sick today. Charles Johnson out, and Dontari Poe with an ankle injury, not available to the Kansas City Chiefs. And just a short while ago, Shamar Stephen was carted off the field for the Vikings with a toe injury. We'll keep track of that. 1st down. Smith to throw. The out pattern, that's complete near midfield to Albert Wilson. Hey, tonight on 60 Minutes, Darrelle Revis, one of the NFL's greatest on and off the field, plus the generous spirit and people behind Make-A-Wish. Tonight, only CBS. Six-yard pickup on the play makes it 2nd and 4. Smith with good protection, wide open over the field. He hit Travis Kelsey, and Kelsey inside the 35 to the 33 for a first down. I don't know what the change is in the offense, but there has been a change, Trent.
Well, it's a miscommunication here. Kelsey is just coming up on a dig route, going to sit in the middle of the field, and you can see from a coverage standpoint, they just let him go. Some confusion there as you see Kendricks jump the running back or the sit-down route on the inside, and
what a grab by Kelsey.
Incredible grab.
Kansas City managed 51 total yards in the first half, 131 so far in this third quarter. Smith looking for more, throwing, and that is complete inside the 25 to the 24 to Demetrius Harris.
You understand that you want to hit some of these underneath routes, but at some point in time you got to take a shot to the end zone. So as they get closer here, getting down close to the 20-yard line, you got to start thinking about taking shots into the end zone as we get ready for the fourth quarter.
We'll see if the Chiefs can continue in the fourth. It's 13-0 Vikings. We're back after this message and a word from your local station. With our producer Bob Monsbach, our director Suzanne Smith, better known to her friends as Lefty, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Stacy Dales in Minneapolis as we start the fourth quarter. From the 24-yard line, 2nd and 1 for the Chiefs. This is West. And West trying to borrow for the first down. Looks like he'd have it at the 23.
Chiefs trying to cause some misdirection there, having a bunch formation out wide to the left as they do finally signal first down.
Look at the difference in Alex Smith from the first half to the third quarter.
Well, and that's also reflective in time of possession. I want to say it was nearly 10 minutes to 5 minutes. So things have started to even out a little bit. What hasn't evened out is the Vikings still haven't allowed the Chiefs into the end zone.
First down from the 23. Smith throwing to the near side of the field and overthrew DeAnthony Thomas. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Only had 2 receivers up the field, just Kelsey and Macklin up the field, so it's only a 3-person route limited to the one side of the field. So Alex Smith looking upfield and saw the defense had dropped back into coverage. Only place to go was to dump it off to the swing, not able to connect. So look for him to continue to try and pass this football. Haven't had much success running the football. Get back into more of a play action mode.
They fake the pitch to give to West up the middle, running room inside the 15, close to the 14-yard line.
Chiefs motion or move DeAnthony Thomas into the backfield, so they're going to fake the pitch there and then hand off underneath, causing some confusion. You see the Vikings coming upfield thinking they're going to pursue DeAnthony Thomas on that sweep, or the look of the sweep, and just hitting the quick trap underneath for a bigger gain.
3rd and 1. Smith rolling, throwing, incomplete, penalty markers down. Intended for Jeremy Macklin, covered by Captain Munnerlyn.
Well, and unfortunately, when Munnerlyn landed on top of Macklin, his head went into the ground.
Offense, number 35, 15-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
The penalty is on West.
With the pass on the outside, Munnerlyn's able to knock it out, but with the body just coming down on top of Macklin.
Jeremy Macklin looking after on the turf. We'll take a timeout and come back and check on him.
What's going to happen is you'll see the engaged block here, and Charkandrick West is going to come up, and what happens is when you're engaged in that block, Zach Fulton's in the block, and so you have a guy blocking up high, Charkandrick West goes low. So here it is right here. So you have a guy blocking up high, and then you have another one blocking down low. So that's what the penalty is.
A classic chop block.
It is. You can't be engaged up. You can't be engaged up top and then have another player go down low. And Macklin fortunately is able to get up and was starting to come off the field, and now just kind got about halfway to the sidelines, stopped and took a knee. So the doctors and trainers are now back with him.
We talked to Macklin last night. 7th season out of Missouri.
Said he likes his expanded role here. You know, when he was in Philadelphia with Andy Reid before, he was pretty much limited to one side of the field or the other, whereas Deshaun Jackson had more of the role of the flanker that was moving around to different spots in the slots and trying to find some matchups. Now that they have him in that role here in Kansas City, he feels comfortable doing that. You see him taking the knee as he's trying to walk off the field.
He has made it to the sideline and now taking a seat on the Kansas City bench. As soon as we get word on him, we'll let you know. Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 16. Are the Chiefs in 4-down territory here with 13:20 to play in the 4th?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on how much yardage they get here. I think if it's 4th and 15 or 17, you can't go for it, but if you can get it down to more manageable, I think they have to seriously consider it.
Look at how deep the defensive backs dropped for Minnesota. Smith on the move, throwing, incomplete at the 20-yard line. Batted down by Munnerlyn, intended for Avant.
That throws a little bit behind. As you see the pressure coming up the middle, Alex Smith flushes to the right. Ball's a little bit behind to Avant. Munnerlyn's able to knock it away, and with 4th and long, they almost have no choice but to go for the field goal.
So Carlos Santos, who has hit from 51 yards twice this season, missed his last 2 field goal tries, this one from 48, to get on the board for the first time today for Kansas City. And that's perfect. 3 on the board for the Kansas City Chiefs. 13:10 to play in the 4th. 13-3 Vikes. The home of the Minnesota Gophers. That you see Jeremy Macklin being taken off the field. He will undergo, we are told, protocol concussion. Or concussion protocol. I know what you mean. Patterson from 5 yards deep in the end zone. Breaking out and across the 25 and out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. The protocol identifying the player who was removed from the field right away, and you saw the team physician and the consultant accompanying Jeremy Macklin to the locker room. He will undergo a little testing there, and if he's diagnosed with a concussion, he will not return today.
You have to remember, Greg, they also lost DeVito earlier in the game to what we were told is a concussion.
Bridgewater, quick pass, complete, across the 40, out to the 45-yard line. Jarius Wright.
That's a good flash fake that Bridgewater has underneath and able to bring the linebackers up and hit right in that second window.
Bridgewater 11 of 19 in the first half and 3 of 6. He hasn't had his hands on the football much in the second half. Bridgewater throwing. And that pass to the far side of the field to Zach Line, the fullback. I want to remind you, your weekend begins here with Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. The Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers here on your home to Super Bowl 50. CBS Sports. Russell Wilson up against Colin Kaepernick.
Well, it's 2 quarterbacks that everybody knows what Russell Wilson's done. Colin Kaepernick is trying to find himself again after having a dynamic first couple of seasons and really struggling as he's trying to make changes to his game.
Speaking of dynamic, Adrian Peterson to the 40 and a first down. Tamba Hali making the stop.
Can't reiterate enough. That's why you just keep feeding him the ball. He hasn't been very productive today in terms of yards per carry, several negative rushes, several short rushes, but you just have to keep feeding him the ball.
Bridgewater with time, throwing, he's intercepted. Picked off inside the 25-yard line by the rookie, Marcus Peters. And we have a penalty marker down.
Holding, offense, number 75. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is an interception. First down, Minnesota.
Matt Khalil, guilty of the hold. They decline the penalty.
Marcus Peters is in man-to-man coverage as he's running up the field, as the receiver is running up the field that he's covering. Watch how he's peeking back. His eyes are on Teddy Bridgewater the entire time. As he's backpedaling, he's watching what Teddy Bridgewater, he falls off right here. He falls off and he comes back in. His eyes, his vision back here is what allows that interception to happen. So
that's a great play.
That's an incredible play. So you can't fault Teddy Bridgewater because he was going to the receiver that he thought would beat man-to-man coverage. And Marcus Peters was just looking back and able to jump that route.
Peters ran right down the sideline and handed the ball to his head coach, Andy Reid. Alex Smith throwing incomplete across the 30, close to a first down, is James O'Shaughnessy, the tight end. And we have 11 minutes to play here in the fourth. With the Denver Broncos showing the way, Kansas City looking to gain ground on everybody. Smith running out of time, out of the pocket, throws over the middle, and across the 45 to the 46 is O'Shaughnessy once again. Meanwhile, with the Packers due to play in one of our doubleheader games just a bit later, Minnesota trailing Green Bay, trying to keep ahead of Chicago and Detroit, bringing up the rear at 0-5.
Well, it's important for the Vikings because the next 2 weeks they have Chicago and Detroit. So finding a way to get a win today, trying to hang on here in the fourth quarter.
Smith on the run, slides down. About 3 yards short of a first down once again. The NFL today in New York once again. JB and Coach Cowell.
Coach, how do you earn a nickname? It's called Big Play. Gary Barnidge, you just catch touchdown passes. Here it is, the second of the day. This one from 14 yards out. His 5th touchdown of the year. And they cut the Denver lead 16-14. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. And look at that catch made just about the 42-yard line by Chris Conley.
Well, that's a quick flash fake. Alex Smith wants to throw the ball out to Kelsey on the swing route, but based on what coverage is, he goes to Conley on the slant. Newman reads it, tries to undercut it, but the location of the pass, the only one to come up with it could have been Conley. Good job connecting and hanging on to that ball.
Kansas City first down to the Minnesota 42-yard line. This pass to the near side, and that is incomplete. O'Shaughnessy could not hold on. It'll be 2nd and 10. Hit hard by Sendejo.
And I know this is what the Chiefs want to do. This is what they've done all season long with Alex Smith, is a lot of these underneath routes, these slants, these quick outs, the swings out of the slot, the wide receiver screen or tight end screens, depending if it's Travis Kelsey. But as this clock ticks down, you got to, some point in time, take a shot up the field.
Lyle Davis in the backfield. Smith throwing down the far sideline. Incomplete. Off the hand of Albert Wilson. It'll be 3rd and 10. Terrence Newman covering.
And there was that shot up the field that I was just talking about. Albert Wilson not able to get behind. Alex Smith putting a little bit too far to the outside. 3rd and 10 here. You're not quite in field goal range. This would be a 60-yarder. So even if you do decide to go for this here, you've got to pick up some yardage before he can even attempt a field goal.
Smith with the screen to the near side, and this is Wilson with blocking, and there he goes! Albert Wilson for the touchdown! I have the feeling that's how it's drawn up on the board.
That's, you know, if you happen to catch the defense in a full all-out blitz the way the Vikings were that time, which I think trying to understand why you would go that way with 3rd and 10. So look at this entire crew rushes. Everybody comes in, so you're all in man-to-man. He throws the quick screen out here to Albert Wilson. So all the defenders are in the backfield. There's nobody in the middle of the field. The Chiefs are able to sneak out 3 blockers. They went all-out blitz there. Honestly, Greg, to me that doesn't make a lot of sense because you're not trying to knock them out of field goal range. You're just trying to prevent them from getting the first down. So
you can tell by the blocking, the Chiefs just let them come.
They just let them roll, and perfect timing on that call.
8:46 to play in the 4th. First touchdown of the day for the Chiefs. It's 13-10 Minnesota.
Check, run it, run it, check, run it, check, run it.
Number 12 is Albert Wilson scoring his first touchdown of the season to pull the Chiefs to within 3. 77-yard drive for Kansas City. Cordero Patterson is deep, and he will not get a chance to return this. And so the ball will come out to the 20-yard line. Adrian Peterson's day. That's been a tough one.
He's struggled. They've continually tried to get him the football. He has 23 rushing attempts for only the 53 yards. Chiefs have done a good job making sure he doesn't break outside. He did have the one big run for 23, but for the most part, they've kept him wrapped up the entire day.
We saw Jeremy Macklin taken off the field for the concussion protocol. We are told he's still being looked at. Meanwhile, here's Peterson. And Peterson for 2 and no more. Ramik Wilson, the rookie linebacker out of Georgia, with the stop.
Well, and you have to think about the adjustments that the Chiefs have made defensively when you look at the first half that Teddy Bridgewater was able to put together in terms of his numbers, and now in the second half, not having much production at all. The last one, last series, Marcus Peters getting a read on it and man-to-man coverage falling off and getting the interception.
2nd and 8. Bridgewater to throw, under pressure, got spun around and goes down at they're going to mark him down at about the 15-yard line. Justin Houston.
Justin Houston's the first one that's going to get him. Coming off Teddy Bridgewater's right, there's Houston there as he comes off the edge. That's tough putting a tight end on him. Try and block Justin Houston with a tight end. That's a tough task for anybody.
Minnesota with just 72 total yards here in the second half. 7.5 to play in the 4th. 3rd and long. And Bridgewater pulls it down again, and he's going to throw it over the middle, and he's got his man across the 40-yard line. Complete to Stephon Diggs for a first down. We are seeing a young man who looks really, really special in number 14.
He's very special, and he looks very comfortable. He's comfortable in his skin, but he's also comfortable in what his role is in the offense. And Teddy Bridgewater has a lot of confidence in Stephon Diggs, and that time there, give the credit to the offensive line, giving Bridgewater the time to scan the field, step up in the pocket, slide, and eventually pick up the first down.
6 catches for 126 yards for Diggs. And this is Diggs to the near side for about 3.
Well, you go back to Friday's practice, Greg, when you and I were watching them, and the number of catches that Diggs had in that Friday practice. And I remember when he kind of barged into our meeting room and introduced himself to us, I asked him, I said, is this a normal Friday? And he said, yeah, I tend to catch a lot of passes on Friday. I don't know if we can get that to carry over onto Sunday. Well, it definitely carried over to Sunday.
He's had 2 outstanding games in the 2 chances he's had to play.
Set. Ready. Good hut.
On 2nd and 7, this is Peterson hitting the left side hard and moving the pile to about the 47-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2.
You can see them continually trying to work Peterson. He waved to the sideline to go off on this one, but be able to continue to feed him as he's now reached 60 yards rushing.
Asiata replaces him in the backfield on 3rd and 2. Asiata gets the ball and gets the first down inside the 40 to the 35. They'll mark him down at the 36, but that's a Minnesota first down.
Watch the read Teddy Bridgewater has on Justin Houston coming up the field. He sees Houston taking a high angle up the field. He hands the ball off to Asiata, and Asiata has a big lane to run through before Derek Johnson can pursue and get to the outside.
And we get a timeout on the field taken by Kansas City. So the Kansas City timeout stops the clock with 5:08 to play in the 4th. Welcome back, everyone. 13-10, Minnesota leading the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. First down at the Kansas City 36.
Ready. Good hut.
This is Asiata. Asiata works his way down to the 30-yard line. A couple of plays ago, Adrian Peterson looking like he was having a little trouble, Trent.
Well, it looks like he took a knee into the lower right leg. You'll see he comes in here, Derek Johnson. Pierce, he gets hit in that lower right leg right before he went to the ground. It almost looked like a defender's knee went up into the right side of his shin. There you can see him adjusting. Almost looks like he has a soccer shin guard or something that he's placed in there to try and protect it. We have not seen him back in the game since that occurred, but I imagine that's not going to keep him out.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Chiefs have used their 2nd timeout. Stop the clock with 5 minutes to play here in the 4th. 2nd and 4.
Ready. Set. 20.
Straight ahead, Asiata. And he's brought to a stop about 1.5 yards shy of a first down by Derek Johnson. Now the Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City uses its 3rd timeout to stop the clock with 4:55 to play. Kansas City can afford a field goal here, giving up a field goal.
Yeah, you can afford a field goal, and that's ultimately what they want to try and do. The Vikings want to continue, get the first down, use up more clock, force the continued use. So I'll ask Kansas City's now out of timeouts, but continue to wind this clock as much as possible, hold them to that field goal, and then it's still a 1-possession game, and the Chiefs will have a lot of time left on because you're still talking just under 5 minutes now. So they've got to try and do what they can to force them to this field goal attempt.
From right here, it would be a 46-yard field goal, 3rd and 2. And a big defensive play here for the Chiefs.
Good hut.
Bridgewater throwing. Incomplete off the fingertips of Rhett Ellison, the tight end.
We'll give the credit to Justin Houston on that one, not biting for the play fake, being there on the backside for the bootleg by Teddy Bridgewater, getting up in his face, able to jump and cause that pass to come up high. I'm not sure if he got a finger on it and tipped it. Whatever it was, he forced that throw high, and Ellison wasn't able to come up with it.
So this is Blair Walsh with a 35-yard field goal attempt. 45, excuse me. The kick is on its way, and it is good. So with 4:46 to play in the 4th, Minnesota extends its lead to 6 at 16-10. want to remind you, stay tuned for the NFL Today update presented by FanDuel, time permitting. Join JB and the guys back in New York for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. So are you a little bit depressed if you're Alex Smith and you get the ball back, but you have no timeouts on the clock?
You know, I think there's still plenty of time. 4:46 to go on the play clock. That's more than enough time. You can still utilize the middle of the field. They haven't had much production in the running game, only 56 yards rushing on the day. So look for them to continue to sprinkle runs in there when they need them. But for the most part, it'll be a throwing game now. As you know, only a one possession game here. So you go down and get the touchdown to tie it up, and then that ever critical extra point, now that they've moved it back, becomes a very stressful kick if they're able to pull off the touchdown drive.
Alex Smith will have to do it without Jeremy Maclin, who is undergoing the concussion protocol back in the locker room. Albert Wilson has shined, and so has Chris Conley on the receiving end, and of course there's Travis Kelce. Niall Davis in the end zone. And he will not get a chance to return this, so the ball will come out to the 20-yard line on the touchback. Come on, tell me. Quarterbacks live for stuff like
love
this.
it. This is why you play. This gets the adrenaline going, and you know, the mental part as much as the physical part. This is what keeps you going right here. This is the fun stuff. This is what you want.
Here in the fourth quarter, Kansas City has had 2 drives, one for a field goal, one for a touchdown. Remember, the Chiefs, no timeouts remaining. Smith with time, throwing, crossing pattern, got his man, Kelce up the sideline and out of bounds. He'll be marked out at the 43 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Great throw by Alex Smith, pushing the ball up the field to Travis Kelce. He'll be just running across the field here. He's got Eric Kendricks in coverage, the rookie linebacker, and Alex Smith drops this right over the shoulder of Kendricks into the hands of Travis Kelce. Chiefs able to pick up a big chunk of yards, get across midfield.
Might have been Alex's best throw of the day. Kendrick West in the backfield. West gets the handoff, lost the football on the ground. Who's got it? Minnesota. Brian Robinson.
Looks like Donnell Hunter that knocks it loose. Hunter comes off of his block to the inside and gets that right arm across and able to knock the ball loose of West.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 87, taking off his helmet and slamming it to the ground. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
So Travis Kelce hit with the unsportsmanlike.
So you're going to watch right here. This is the combination. Stevenson doesn't stay on the block. He misses it. So when Hunter comes off, he's able to get that right arm in there, knock the ball loose. You can see it loose before he goes to the ground. Vikings are able to jump on it and get the ball. But after the play, Travis Kelce, who's on the far side of the field, takes his helmet off, slams it to the ground, and that was the penalty that was just called.
So Minnesota's ball at the 47 of the Chiefs. Peterson back into the game and gets the pitch. And no gain on the play, and Kansas City unable to stop the clock.
Well, and there's still plenty of time, Greg. It's not going to be a lot of time, but as Peterson's waving off the field again, that right leg must still be bothering him. But this is a series, you know, coaches talk so much, and we as commentators and fans, you talk so much about the 2-minute drill. But for an offense, you also work a lot on the 5-minute drill. When you have the lead and you want to just use the clock up and you want to make sure that the other team doesn't get the ball back, this is something that you practice as well is making sure you can pick up first downs, making sure your running backs know the importance of staying in bounds.
Set.
Asiata in the backfield. He has run well for the Vikings today. He gets the handoff, dodges one tackler, fights his way just inside the 45-yard line. Looking at Adrian Peterson. And he goes down and comes up shaking his left hand.
Yeah, there was a stack of defenders that landed on that left arm, so. It wasn't because he didn't have enough tape on his hand, as we clearly saw there. I joke about it because he's going to be okay, so it's, yeah.
You joke about it because you're scared to death of Adrian Peterson getting angry.
Well, I'm still trying, I'm still weary of the handshake he gave me when we met, so.
They're first. This is a 30-second timeout.
Minnesota has used a timeout here. 3 minutes exactly on the clock with 3rd and 7. Do you see Minnesota doing anything but running the football and continuing to move the numbers on the clock?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. This is a situation. We just saw Norv Turner make a call a minute ago with Teddy Bridgewater on a bootleg. It wasn't effective because Justin Houston didn't bite. So don't be surprised if he doesn't come up with some kind of play action pass. If you run the ball, it's going to eventually get it to just under. If you run the ball and you don't get the first down, you punt it away, it'll get it to the 2-minute warning. The Chiefs will have to go the length of the field with that 2-minute warning and no timeouts. But if you're able to get some kind of play action and pick up a first down, you can almost seal up the game because the Chiefs are out of timeouts.
From the shotgun, Bridgewater throwing deep down the sideline. It is tipped in the air, incomplete, inside the 10-yard line. Marcus Peters fighting Mike Wallace all the way.
You know, it's interesting to see the cat and mouse of both these defensive coordinators. When the Vikings had a key 3rd down they had to come up with, they decided to bring all-out pressure. The Chiefs score a touchdown because of that man-to-man pressure. That time on a key 3rd down, the Chiefs bring pressure and go man-to-man, and they're able to come up with the knockdown.
This ball will bounce into the end zone and come out to the 20-yard line. 2:46 to play in regulation. You know, we wonder what was happening in that Kansas City locker room at halftime. Whatever it was, Alex Smith came out throwing the ball well in the second half.
Well, they've taken their opportunities to push it up the field, you know, finding some chances to find seams up the field. They have crossing route to Kelsey as he gets left alone in the middle of the field. Here's a deep ball to Macklin, then he jumps over the top of Sendejo, and then here's the quick throw to Wilson when the Vikings were in an all-out cover 0 blitz with nobody in the middle of the field. They caught him. Good play call at the right time, and now the crowd gets cranked up as the Chiefs got to go the length of the field in the final 2:46.
With no timeouts. Smith running out of time, now throws over the middle, complete across the 30 to the 32 is Niall Davis. 2:35 and the clock continues to move.
What's interesting now, you see Niall Davis in the game, Charkandrick West having the fumble on the last possession.
Smith over the middle, incomplete. Kelsey, the intended receiver, covered by Eric Kendricks, the middle linebacker.
Well, the Vikings once again bring pressure. Barr coming on the blitz, and Kelsey trying to work the middle of the field, tries to pivot out of the route and ends up running into the official. He didn't take his helmet off and slam it to the ground in frustration that time, though.
2nd and 10. Smith threw it behind Jason Avant. It'll be 3rd and 10.
You have to remember now on 3rd and long, before the Vikings brought pressure going with the cover 0. You would think with this amount of field, you're not going to do that. Although on 1st down, they brought the linebacker, so they rushed 5. That now on 2nd down, they only rushed 4. So what did they decide to do? What does Mike Zimmer decide to do from a pressure standpoint? Knowing with 4 guys rushing, you've been able to get some pressure on Alex Smith. Do you decide to bring the extra pressure, or do you trust your guys up front?
Looks like a 4-man rush right now. That's what it is. Smith stepping up, throwing. This side of the field, is it complete? It is incomplete at the 45 for Albert Wilson.
Alex moved up in the pocket. You can see he throws a little short, clearly hits the ground. 4th and 10, you have to go for it. Once again, go back to it. As a defensive coverage, do you go man-to-man and try and add more pressure? I think they're hesitant to do it because of what happened on the last 3rd down a couple series ago. So look for them to continue to rush forward, maybe show more guys up around the box, like they're going to anticipate pressure.
They've got to hurry. Looking for the snap. Got it off in time. Smith eludes, throws, this side, dive made, incomplete. Wilson again. And we have a penalty marker on the sideline.
I think somebody from the Vikings said something to the Chiefs sideline, and
after the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting defense number 55, 15-yard penalty. Minnesota keeps the ball, first down.
Wow.
they kept it. They kept the ball because it was a dead ball personal foul.
Warning.
There is the pass, and Albert Wilson cannot grab and hold. The ball goes over on down. Welcome back to Minneapolis. That's Anthony Barr. Second-year linebacker out of UCLA and guilty of the unsportsmanlike conduct. And this is how this game is going to end as Teddy Bridgewater takes a knee, the first of several. Here's the penalty on Barr. He's number 55 and gets the flag thrown on him.
And you can see he was coming up, and it appeared that he was trying to celebrate with Xavier Rhodes. The two of them were dancing and whatever they were doing, celebrating, and the official thought it was taunting of the Chiefs sideline.
The Vikings about to win a game after their bye week for the first time in 6 years. 0-5 after their bye week, the only winless team in the NFL over that period. And they're going to take a step forward in the NFC North, and they've got Detroit and Chicago. Two divisional rivals coming up.
2 division games and both on the road, so tough test for them.
Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, they are going to fall to 1-5 on the year. Denver and Cleveland with bonus coverage coming your way after we wind down here as Bridgewater takes the knee again, and that'll be the last one of the day.
Well, the Chiefs have the Steelers at home, and then they head overseas to play Detroit and London before their bye week.
Kansas City's longest losing streak since 2012 when they lost 8 in a row. They won their opener. They have now lost 5 straight. Our final score, 16-10, Minnesota over Kansas City. Up next, San Diego, Green Bay, or Baltimore, San Fran, Trent Green, and Stacey Dales. I'm Greg Gumbel. So long from Minneapolis. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50.